people, I welcome you to another video in the Prop Firm series. Today we're going to talk about types of drawdown. In the world of prop trading, we have overall drawdown and daily drawdown. But the daily drawdown is divided into two, which is the balance-based drawdown and the equity-based drawdown. So let's start with the overall drawdown. The overall drawdown is usually between 6% and 10% for most prop firms, and this is the amount you should never lose in total from your account during the challenge. Let's see this example. Let's use a $100,000 account here with a 10% overall drawdown as an example. It means never lose 10% of 100,000 at any time. So what is 10% of 100,000? That will give you 10,000. So overall loss limit should be $100,000 minus $10,000, which is $90,000. So what it means is never take this account down to $90,000. If you take this $100,000 account down to $90,000, you have breached that challenge, and the overall drawdown was used to measure your limit. Now let's check the second drawdown. Here is the second drawdown, which is the daily drawdown, and this drawdown limit is usually between 3% to 6% for most prop firms. If daily drawdown is 5% of the original account size, then with each new trading day, it will become 5% of the prior day balance. This update happens when the server clock hits 23:59 GMT. The best way to explain the daily loss limit is by example. So let's look at this example. Let's assume you have a $100,000 account with a 5% daily drawdown. Then what it means is never lose 5% of 100,000. So what is 5% of 100,000? That is 5,000. So daily loss limit now will be $100,000 subtract $5,000. That will be $95,000. So what it means is this: never you take down the $100,000 account down to $95,000. If you do that, you are going to breach the account or you will fail the challenge. So daily drawdown is divided into two, meaning we have two methods to check your daily drawdown. The first method is using balance based, and second one is equity based drawdown. So let's go check out what they mean. So we have balance based drawdown here. It means that the drawdown is calculated based on the initial balance of the trading account. Let's take again a $100,000 account. The drawdown will be calculated on the balance, which is $100,000. Example, let's use a $100,000 account with 5% daily drawdown. If you are, let's say you enter into a trade and you are 8% in profit, that means your equity will go to $108,000. But all of a sudden, you discovered that the market retraced or moved down by 9%, and that 9% is highest profit you've gotten minus the percentage retracement. So when you say $108,000 minus $9,000, you're going to have $99,000 left. So what is the implication of this kind of trade? So it means you brought your account down by 9%. So you have lost 9%, which is more than 5, but you are okay because the 5% rule here is never lose 5% of your balance. And what is your balance? Your balance is $100,000. So don't lose 5% of $100,000. So this 9% you lost here is in addition to the 8% profit you made. So this one is straightforward. Now balance based can also be called static drawdown. It means the balance is static. It doesn't go up and down. It doesn't fluctuate. Now let's look at the equity based drawdown. This method considers your current account balance. It includes any profit you've earned or potential losses you might incur in real time. So the daily drawdown is calculated based on your floating or open or running positions or trades. The daily drawdown reset time is at 5 p.m. Eastern Time or 23:59 GMT. Now the equity based drawdown is like constantly checking your trading account every time you earn or lose any trade throughout the day. The trader reaches the daily loss limit immediately upon facing a floating loss of 5%. So what it means is this. I'm going to use this next example to explain it. And we're going to use the same $100,000 account. And the reason is this, so that we can be able to compare balance based and equity based using the same parameters. Let's use the same $100,000 with the same 5% daily drawdown. So let's see what the result will be when we are using equity based drawdown. So if you're 8% profit, that is, you've added 8,000 to the $100,000, so you will now be at $108,000. And all of a sudden, the market retraced or moved down by 9%, which is roughly $9,000. Now your equity at this point will be $99,000, which is just $1,000 away from your balance. But do you know the implication? You have lost 9%, which is more than 5%, and that means you have failed the challenge, because 5% rule here is never lose 5% of your equity. So I want you to take note of what is happening here. This thing you're seeing here is calculation based on equity, and is the same $100,000 and 5% daily drawdown for the balance based drawdown. But because on the equity based drawdown, the highest amount reached on your account, which is your equity, is used for this calculation. So look at this place. The highest equity here is $108,000, and from there it reduced to $99,000. That is a roughly 9% reduction. So 9% is bigger than 5% here. So because of that, you lost more than 5%, and the equity base says never lose 5% of your equity. So this is because your account is measured by equity and not by balance. If this were to be measured by balance, you don't have any problem. So this is an eye-opener for you. When you are choosing a prop firm, you should know if they use equity based or balance based drawdown, and you should know the one that is good for you. But what you can see here, you will know that balance based drawdown is better than equity based drawdown. Then again, if you are in a trade and retracement goes beyond 5% of your equity and later comes up to positive percentage, you have breached the account, because equity based checks your account balance in real time. The moment your trades reflect the 5% loss, your daily loss limit is hit. So equity based is kind of tricky, and if you don't know how to deal with it, the best you can do is to avoid those prop firms that operate on equity. And at the end of this series, I'm going to be showing you a list of prop firms that operate on equity and those that operate on balance. So you can subscribe to this channel to get notified when I release that video. So equity based can also be called trailing drawdown. It is trailing because it follows your equity. If your equity goes up to the high water marks and begins to come down, it's going to trail that retracement down until 5% is exhausted, then the account will be breached. So I see no reason why prop firms should be using this equity based, but it's best known to them. We want to talk about consistency rules and other hidden rules by prop firms. Most prop firms, they have hidden rules which you don't know and you don't see, you don't read anywhere until you engage the customer service on a chat. But here I'm going to reveal some of them to you so that you will know about them. So what is consistency rule? In general, it means that you are expected to trade based on your trading style with similar risk and lot sizes. So today you don't use 10 standard lots, tomorrow you use 30. No, you have to be consistent in the way you execute your trades. It limits the size of trades that traders can make. This is designed to prevent traders from changing their trading strategy mid-account or midway, which could lead to losses for the prop firm. When you keep changing your style and the way you trade, it's going to affect your trading result. The consistency rule is usually applied during the evaluation phase when traders are assessed for their ability to manage a funded account. Prop firms use this period to ensure traders are not only profitable but also consistent in their trading approach. To determine a trader's consistency, prop firms calculate profit distribution with the consistency rule, requiring that the majority of profit can't come from just one or few trades. For example, if a prop firm sets a 30% consistency rule, it means that no single day's profit can exceed 30% of your total profit during the evaluation. So if your total profit during an evaluation is $10,000 and a prop firm were to impose a 30% consistency rule, it means that no single day's profit should exceed $3,000. So what it means is that if you ask from a prop firm and they say that their consistency rule is just 30%, so it means that you should not make 30% of your profit in a day or in a trade. It's crazy though, but that is what it is. If you were to make $4,000 in a day, which supersedes the 30% consistency rule, you've exceeded the limit, thereby breaching the rule. So can you see this? So it means that if you are a swing trader, you should verify from the prop firm before you work with such prop firms, because any prop firm that has 30% consistency rule, it can't hold your trades overnight in most cases with such prop firms, because you're going to make more than the percentage outlined in the consistency rule. Here is an example where consistency rule is applied, and in this particular case, the rule states that the profit of your best trading day should be no more than 45% of your total profit. Now let's use a $25,000 account with a profit target of $2,000, which is 8%. The daily profit should never exceed 45% of total profit, which is equivalent to $900. So what it simply means is that if you are on a $25,000 account and the consistency rule here is 45% and your target is 8%, which is $2,000, it means that on a single trade, never you make $900 profit on one trade. If you do that, you have breached the consistency rule. So here, look at the scenario. Let's say you hit your target of a profit of $2,000, but out of that $2,000, you made 1,200 profit in one day. Then the result is that you don't pass the challenge, because the 1,200 profit you made in one day is more than $900, which is the same as the 45% consistency rule. So what you're expected to do is this: when you see your target as $2,000, and you see your consistency as 45%, and you check the equivalent in dollars, as your trade begins to move in profit, make sure you close your trade before it gets to $900. That is a simple way to avoid bridging your account. And that is what is stated here. You have to devise a strategy that doesn't allow you to go over or make over 900 profits in a day. So you have to take short trades, accumulate like 5 to 10 trades. You'll have a total of $2,000 profit or more. If this happens, then you have passed the challenge because you proved to the prop firm that you are consistently profitable without relying on big lucky trades that are high risk. So what these prop firms are looking for are those who will trade with them for a long period of time. And for you to be able to show them that you can trade for a long period of time, you have to show some consistency. If not, you can jump into one lucky trade and you can hit your target with just one trade in less than 5 hours. But what happened after that? Will you be able to repeat that throughout the week or throughout the month? So the prop firms will want to see how consistent you are by allowing you to take multiple trades. Now let's look at another example. This time, let's use $10,000 to illustrate. The goal of the challenge is to have at least a 10% gain or a $1,000 profit in 30 days. What this means is that no single daily profit should exceed 30% or $300. In other words, maintaining a consistent lineup of profit that will not be greater than 300 in a day, you will pass the challenge. Well, most persons will not understand what this prop firm are trying to do with this. Most often, greed is the sole reason why traders fail in the business of trading. If you can control your greed, then you'll be able to go far. So by limiting the amount you make in a day, you are controlling your greed. And by doing that, you are going to become consistent. And that is what these prop firms are trying to impact on traders. So this one is a really good one. Personally, I like these rules because they help you to become a good trader even on your own personal account. So what happens if you overshoot and hit 300 in a day? Now, the outcome is that different prop firms have different ways to treat those who violate this consistency rule. In some cases, they will shut down the account, and in some other cases, they will give you a new account. So it depends on the prop firm. So here, what happens if you overshoot and hit 300 in one day? It means that if you stop at $1,000 in profit for the challenge, you will not pass the challenge. You need to continue to trade. So you need to add more trades. But if you add even $50 more to your total profit on any other day, that $300 will be 28.5% of your total profit. So it's not going to be 30% anymore. So it's going to be 28.5% of your total profit of $1,050. That way, you will qualify for the challenge and exit as a winner.